I have a question. Just how broken is Gerard the Completionist's career? Hello everyone, I'm Lost, and welcome to an episode of Elden Rant, where I talk about stuff with some murder happening in the background. The man himself has finally made a response video, but first, for that one guy in the audience that doesn't know what this is about, the YouTuber The Completionist ran a charity/fundraiser for almost 10 years, taking money from his audience but never donating any of it. The money sat in an account until his fellow YouTubers Carl Jobst and Mudahar confronted him in a Discord call. Gerard then went radio silent for a few weeks before finally donating the money and making a response video. To put it simply, Gerard's reputation fell face first into a nuclear dog turd, and with his newly released response video, Gerard attempts to clean some of that turd off. Look, if anybody is looking for some moral indignation from me, you're in the wrong place. I'll quickly mention that even in the best case scenario here, the completionist was both neglectful and misleading to the point where I wouldn't trust him with my money. But I'm not super interested in to what degree this man is quote-unquote guilty. I simply want to look at whether or not his response can repair his reputation. So let's do that. The first thing I should mention is that I won't be showing the video here. I don't want to do the editing. But what he says and how he says it are both super important throughout the video. So watching it, if you haven't done so, is highly suggested. His video is of course scripted. There was probably an entire team behind his statement, but I still found it to be fairly effective. He's speaking in a formal manner, which should be expected though. When refuting such allegations that have been levied against him, you need to have a certain amount of gravitas, even if it comes across as stilted. Remember, this isn't just an apology video. This is someone fighting back against being labeled a fraud and a scammer. And to that end, I feel like Gerard's performance, so to speak, was a good one. I know the word performance might be seen as somewhat cynical, but I think it's fitting here. I think that Gerard was passionate throughout the video. He was sad in the right places. He was apologetic. He was angry. Now granted, we can discuss whether or not his anger was justified, but we'll get back to that. So let's take a look at his video in a little bit more detail, shall we? The first minute and a half was him basically saying, I haven't done anything illegal, but I fucked up. My bad. I'm sorry. He apologizes to a bunch of people. He apologizes to fans. He apologizes to the developers of the indie games that were included in the Indieland promotion. And he apologizes to all of the other sponsors that have been involved, which is good. He does not go into details on how this whole situation came about, how some money could have been just sitting there for 10 years. No explanation. He kind of walks straight over that part, but then he continues. So from 1.5 minutes to about 5 minutes, he keeps apologizing, and he also weaves in the story about his mom and why he's doing this in the first place. Then from 5 minutes to about 16 minutes in, this is time he spends going into all of the different allegations from Mudahar and Carl Jobst. He is trying to refute most, if not every point that they have by explaining why certain things are the way they are, and why, why he didn't get any money from this thing, or if money is over there. I think that he did a good job doing so. Because this is something that you have to do in a response video. You have to take every single allegation and you have to address it. Even if you do so in not the greatest way, you do have to address it. Then, after the 16-minute point, he gets a little mad. He gets a little angry. And he is threatening to sue Karl Jobst and Mudahar for the slander, for calling him a fraudster, a scam, a crook, a thief, something that he is not, or at least according to himself. And he's angry that these allegations have put his friends, his co-workers, and his family in danger because of, the internet. I'm sure he has received a great amount of death threats because the thing that he was accused of doing is just one of the worst things you can be accused of doing, unless you're a Minecraft YouTuber. I don't think, though, that suing the accusers in this situation is a good idea. I think that is probably that's going to be a negative for his reputation. Because no matter how you cut or slice this situation is of the completionists and everybody else in the Open Hand Foundation's making. They are the ones that put themselves in this situation by being negligent. And I think that a lot of people on the internet will see that. In fact, excluding his hardcore fans, I think he will lose more people if he actually goes through this and tries to sue. And while I'm not an expert in this whole American lawsuit thing, I also believe that the best defense against slander is simply speaking the truth. Anybody looking at this situation would find it suspicious that the money hadn't been reported properly. Gerard said that there were certain instances where there were clerical errors on his side. And if that's the case, well, it's good that this has been cleared up. But you could absolutely see a reasonable human being looking at this and going, this might be fraud. Now that aside, I do believe that the completionist made a fairly good video as far as protecting himself. If we take a look at his video currently, I've been actually just writing this fairly quickly after the video dropped. It's been out for about 3 or 4 hours. Currently, he has about a like to dislike ratio of 25%. So there's 75% pro and 25% against the completionist. And the same thing could be said about all of the comments here. There was, in fact, one very good comment made by a guy called C-Dub right here. He'll probably never see the video that I'm making, but if you do, I think you have a really good take. He says that, I think the biggest problem is his defensiveness. 600k received, not spent, but not donated. He then paints himself as a victim, which is always a bad idea. Just say, I messed up in this way, here's what I'm doing to fix it, and I'm pissed about XYZ, and then bring it back to the accountability to end it. That's a brilliant way of doing it, because when you are apologizing, taking responsibility, and making a video such as this, people need to know that you now know what you did is messed up, and that you're going to fix it. He messed up, even if he's not a fraudster. If he didn't mess up, this isn't happening. Exactly. It all comes down to this is a situation of his own making. Now, with all of that being said, let's answer a different question. What has been lost? Now, as a functional YouTuber, I do have some insight in how this might affect the completionist, and I would like to share that with you guys. Now, keep in mind though that I'm essentially making educated guesses. But let's talk a little bit about money and views. If we take a look at the completionist Social Blade, that is a website that tracks YouTubers' stats, or at least certain stats, we can see that the completionist, he actually has the last 30 days, he's gotten 1 million views. That's not great. Honestly, that's not great, because the completionist has 1.6 million followers, right, or subscribers. I myself has about 90, oh god, how many subs do I have? 93? Oh, how do I need to check that. I have, oh no, I have 98,000. Let's say I have 100,000 subs. That's what I have. I have 100,000 subs. I get half of the views that the completionist gets, and I earn about $3,000 off of YouTube. And so the completionist, he, let's be generous and say that he earns the full, let's say $5,000 off of his ad revenue. That's not great, considering the fact that the completionist, he has a whole team that he needs to feed. We'll just go into one of his videos here, and we'll just take a look at it, and boom. Yeah, he has a bunch of people here that he needs to feed. Granted, his videos are, they get a lot of views. They do. He gets a respectable amount of views here. Almost 300,000, 150, 300, 200. So he gets around 100 to 300,000 views. And every now and then he probably has a really, really well-crafted video that does even better. So he'll get a ton of money from sponsorships here. These sponsorships might be a little bit more difficult now for him to acquire. I'm fairly certain that he's part of a network. I'm fairly certain that he has people that gets these sponsorships, so he doesn't have to do it himself. But I think it will be a bit more difficult for them to find good sponsorships, at the least for now. I think a few people will probably want to just step back from the channel and wait it out. They'll come back eventually, but he'll take a hit monetarily from this. That is also to say that he has a Patreon. If we again go back into his channel here, and he has a Patreon. I did take a look at this a little earlier, and currently he has, oh gross, okay, I have to hit memberships. I have to cancel my membership. I joined for free. I joined for free, everybody. Now, the completionist has 353 paid members. So, that's not a great amount, but there's a few $1,000s there probably being brought in. I looked at this a little earlier, and he had lost about 50 paid members. So that is at least $250. He also has a bunch of side gigs. He has Twitch subs and bits. He makes money from Twitch. Which probably is something that he's going to be staying away from for a while due to him receiving a bunch of hatred. He'll still have to live with that for a while, I think. He also has some side gigs. He has another channel called Beard Bros, where he and 3 other people, who I don't know much about, make content. The content doesn't get a lot of views there, But they do also have a Patreon, and they also receive a solid amount of money. I think they have like around 600 patrons over there. He's also on podcasts with other creators, which is something I am very curious about. Will he now show up on the podcast that he was regularly a part of? He was a part of the FPS, Friends Per Second podcast, with a Skill Up, a YouTuber and video game reviewer that I really like, even when I disagree with his opinions. I can see where he's coming from. And a bunch of other creators that I don't know, quite frankly, but I also think that they will be doing themselves a favor by stepping away from him for a little bit at the very least. The same thing with a YouTuber like MatPat. I know that the Completionist has been on MatPat's channel plenty of time, the Game Theorists, and so he's not gonna show up there either. I think if I was in Gerard's situation, that would probably be what hurt me the most. Losing some respect from my peers. I want to show you something though. I want to compare this to another YouTuber. If you don't know, Illuminati is a YouTuber that did way more terrible shit than Gerard. She is, without a doubt, a way worse person. Even with, if we do the generous thing and say that Gerard, it was all by accident, then Illuminati is by far worse. But Illuminati here, she got everything from 200,000 views to 500,000 views. She ran a very successful YouTube channel, and every now and then she probably has a video that got a bunch of millions. However, she was embroiled in some drama. She was revealed to be a terrible person. She was revealed to be doing tons of plagiarism. She was revealed to talking or treating her employees like shit, threatening them with cease and desists. And she went from 200,000, 300,000, 1.2 million views to 26,000, 40,000, 40, 35, 30, 23, 45, 20. This is quite a huge drop, especially considering that while her videos are actually plagiarized to hell, just check out H-Bomber's guy video on this, it does take some effort to make. So, will the Completionist lose out in views here? I think so. I think it is a solid possibility that his views will drop around 20 to 30%. Maybe even more in the beginning. After a while, after he has proven himself for a bit, they might rise again. But this will always be something that sticks to the man. But that's just me speculating, basically. Thank you so much, guys. I was actually going to make multiple videos on these situations a few days ago, but then I got information that he donated the money, and then I was going to make a video on that, and then he made a response video, so I thought, why not just take the plunge and make this video? Because I find the whole situation really fascinating. I do. From a YouTuber and business point of view, I am so curious to see just how badly this has hurt him. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.